All right, we're going to be working on number 8. Number 8 says find the slope of the line that passes through point A, which is negative 3 and 1, and point B, which is 2 and negative 5. It's asking for the slope. So obviously I'm going to use the slope formula. Remember that the slope formula is m equals y second y minus y1 over second x minus x1. All right, so let's go ahead and take our second y. Our second y is negative 5 minus our first y, which is 1, over our second x is 2 minus our first x, which is negative 3. Remember, since these negatives are touching, it turns into a plus sign. So negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. And our equation is, our slope is negative 6 over 5, which means C is our answer. Okay, here we have number 10, which is rate of change. And I wrote the formula for slope here because rate of change is the same as slope. It says college tuition and fees in the year 2000 averaged $3,510 a year at a 4-year public institution, compared to $3,217 in 1998. What was the rate of change? So it's pretty much asking us for the slope. Okay. The one problem I see that sometimes we have with this is you have years and then you have money, and then you have a tough time distinguishing which one's your domain, which one's your range, which one's your x, and which one's your y. Well, it's very easy. Remember that on a coordinate plane, x is the horizontal line, so it's the line going forward. You always have to think about this as what goes forward. Does money go forward? No. Does time go forward? Well, time does go forward. So that's how I know that time, the years here, is our x value, because time is always going forward. Money cannot go forward. So x is our years. So let's start with x2. Let's make x2 1998 because that's the second one we saw, minus x1, which is 2000. Remember, if you do this backwards, you should still get the right answer. And now y2, the amount that was linked to 1998 was 3,217 minus 3,510. Now, right here, let's start with the denominator because that's the one we started with. This is a difference of 2 years, but it's negative 2. And up here we have negative 293. So right here we got to figure out how many times negative 2 goes into negative 293. So first of all, a negative divided by negative is a positive. So that's going to be good. So that means they're going to be positive. So I'm going to go ahead and treat them as positives right now. 293 goes in the box. It got there first. 2 goes into 2 once. And 4 into 9 times. And 6 into 13 times. So that gives you 12 with a 1 remainder. Bring that down. It's going to be 10. And that decimal point to bring that 0 down, that is a 5. So that's what I'm left with. Let's see, we got 146. Remember, it's dollars. So, and 50 cents, it should be B. And B is your correct answer. So remember, anytime you have a rate of change, use it the same way you find the slope. All right, here we have number 11. It is pretty straightforward. It says the number of feet y varies directly as the number of x inches. Write a direct variation equation that converts x inches to y feet using the fact that there are 12 inches in a foot. So obviously this has the magic word varies, which means that we're using the direct variation formula, which is y equals kx. Remember that varies means we use direct variation formula. And it even tells us right here in the equation to use direct variation equation. So remember, it says x was inches. It says y was feet. And it says using the fact that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So we have 1 equals k times 12, which gives me 1 equals 12k. So now we obviously need to solve for k, so we're going to separate it from the 12 by dividing it. And our answer is k equals 1/12. Now this is what k equals. It's not our answer for this problem. If you guys remember, what we do with direct variation is when we find out what k equals, we plug k back into equation, the original equation. So instead of writing k here, we're going to write 1 over 12. So our answer is y equals 1/12 x, which is D. 13, write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the table of values. So here we have a table of values. Slope-intercept form, remember, is y equals mx plus b. M being the slope and b being the y-intercept. The y-intercept is easy to find. If x is 0, then we have the y-intercept. Unfortunately, we didn't luck out here because there is no x for 0. So we do not know what the y-intercept is. So we need to find the slope. So in order to do the slope, we need 2 points. So we can use any of these 2 points to find the slope. I'm going to use the first two, which is x is -6, y is 7, and x is 3, y is 1. So I'm going to use these 2 points. Going to write them down here. And I'm going to use my formula for slope, which is m equals y2, which is 1, minus y1, which is 7. x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is -6. So 2 negatives touching, that means it's a positive. 1 minus 7 is -6, and 3 plus 6 is 9. This can be reduced by dividing it by 3. That's going to give me -2 and 3. So my slope is, I'm going to write it up here, y equals -2/3, excuse me, x plus b. So now that I have that, I can go ahead and find my y-intercept. Now before I try to find my y-intercept, let's see if we even have to do this step. Remember that I just found the slope. It wants me to put it in slope-intercept form, so obviously I need my y-intercept. But there might be only one answer that has -2/3 as the right answer. So I'm going to look at the problem. A does not have -2/3. B has -2/3 x as a slope, so that's good. That's one of our possible answers. Y has 3/2, which is not the same thing. And y here equals 1/3 x, which is totally different. So it looks like only one problem has our slope. That means if we did everything correctly here, B should be our answer, and we shouldn't even have to find the y-intercept. It says here is 3. However, to double check and make sure that we did the problem right, it might be good to put the numbers in there. So in this case, we're going to have to plug in x and y from one of these to find what B is. So I'm going to pick this one because it has a 1 in it, and I think that would be more, that'd be easier. So y is 1 here, -2/3 times x, which is 3, plus b. So turn that into a fraction so we can multiply them. That's going to give me, the 1 stays good over here. This is going to be -6/3, which can be reduced to -2/1 plus b. 1 goes into -2 2 times, so we have a -2 there. Now all I have to do is get rid of this 2, so I'm going to add 2 to get b by itself. I have 3 equals b. So I was correct. B is 3, so that means my correct answer is B. All right, number 18. Solve the system of equations at the right by substitution. So we have 2 equations here. We have y equals 3 and 1 equals x minus y. So, and it wants us to solve for x and y. Now, here's the good thing. We already know what y is because it says right here. So, y is 3. The only one that has y being 3 right here is C, but I'm not going to put that as my answer. 1, because I didn't verify that x was 4, and 2, it might be something different, and my solution might be D, which is no solution. So if x ends up being 4, then obviously C is my answer. This is really easy to do because I'm done with this equation right here, and I know y equals 3, so I'm going to replace this with 3. Now I'm going to get x by itself. I'm going to add 3 over here to cancel this out. Add 3. And 4 equals x, so x is 4, which means my answer is C. All right, last one here, guys. Number 19. The graph of y is greater than 3x minus 4 is the region blank the graph of y equals 3x minus 4. So this one we talked about early in the chapter. Remember we talked about we were graphing lines, and then actually they weren't lines, they're inequalities, and depending on what it said, depending on what we shaded in. So if we had greater than or less than, we had a dotted line for your line. So this is a greater than or less than, so it is a dotted line. And then if we had a greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, it was a solid line. And if it was greater than, that means we shaded in the top. And if it was less than, that means we shaded in the bottom. This is a greater than, so we're going to shade in the top. Okay. Now this isn't the line of this equation because obviously I didn't graph it out. But that's not what it's asking us. What it's asking us is, do you shade in on and above, on and below, above, or below? Now, obviously, we're going to shade in above here because the symbol is greater than. Okay, and what the equation y equals 3x minus 4 means that you're graphing this line, because really you can't graph this inequality. It has to be an equation, so it turns it into this, and then this shows you what to shade in. So our answer is either going to be A, which is on or above, or C, which is above. It cannot be B or D because they say below, and we didn't shade below. So here's the thing. On or above means on the line and above. And above just means above the line. Since the line is dotted, that means we cannot make our mark on that line. So it's not on or above. It will be just above. So the correct answer is C. Good luck on your test, guys. Study hard.